back to my channel. It's Miss Kellie Michele, and I have a special guest here, Mr. Al Williamson, the leading landlord. Say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. Thanks for introducing me to your channel. I appreciate it.
Yes. Now, Al was on my channel before. You've probably seen a video with myself, Al, and Jesse. We talked about midterm rentals, but I thought it was a great idea to bring Al back because Al has been in this extended stay. That's what he calls it. We call it midterm rentals. It's the same thing, but he has been in this business for a while. So Al, can you tell everybody, how long have you been in the business?
Wow, I started really in 2015. That's when I set aside one of my units as a 2-bed, 1-bath in 2015, just when Airbnb came out with this business travel ready category.
Okay.
So that just happened. So it's been a while. So it's almost, you can make me do the math. It's almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. Almost 10 years. Yes. So when you started off, did you start off like doing short-term renting? Did you start off doing the 30-day plus? Like exactly what did you start with, or did you do both?
In that first year, I started with shorts, the less than 30 days.
Mhm.
And then I got a longer term booking. And
Okay.
then I did that, and I really liked the longer term. And then I compared my net incomes that month of doing short stays versus the midterm or the extended stay. And I saw that on a net income basis, also including my time, I was more profitable doing midterms than a whole bunch of running back and forth.
Okay.
So
So
I
that makes
started
sense.
shorts and I transitioned back in, well, really it was 2016. It was just all extended stays, midterm rentals then.
Okay.
So early on, yeah.
Okay. So when you started, it was mostly longer stays, right? Like you just said, right?
Right.
So what type of guests were you hosting then?
Back then, so in that time, Sacramento was the fifth most popular destination for travel nurses. So I
Mhm.
just flooded with it. I just had the market all to myself. Other people were doing shorts,
Mhm.
and their calendars were all polka dotted on Airbnb and VRBO and those common places. And Furnish Finder was just coming out. And on Furnish Finder, it was just all my units on Furnish Finder. So I just had
Okay.
so I had I'm an early beta tester for Furnish Finder. So I had it all to myself, just healthcare professionals.
And how long did that last until you started getting a little bit more competition, or you started seeing that things were kind of changing?
Well, it's we're flooded through COVID. I had plenty all the way through COVID. It's been really, really strong. My 1-bed, 1-baths apartments, some I own, some I arbitrage,
Hmm.
was always filled. It was never, move one person leaves, the next person comes in the next day or so. So
Okay.
sometimes I pay people just to hold off into a hotel
Hmm.
until I got the unit ready because because I had so much demand. So coming out of COVID, and it started to slow down after 2021, after the travel revenge, it started slow. So 2022, and it was really kind of where we first had that slow Christmas time.
Hmm.
That was the first time that we had like a, 3-month, three week and a month vacancy.
Okay.
So a month vacancy was, I was just freaking out. I didn't think that was possible.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? That was my experience as well. Like last year, like you said, around the holidays, I was like, oh, what's happening? It slowed down. I still had some bookings, but that was the first time I had a 1 month gap. Now I did have someone coming, but in that 1 month, I just had to leave it vacant because it was like, well, it is what it is. I couldn't fill it with a short-term rental guest. But this year, 2023, was even worse for me. So we'll get into it a little bit more, but yeah, definitely for myself when I first started, because I started actually in 20, was it 2020? Like closer to the end of 2020, maybe early 2021. And I had no problems.
Right.
Just like you said, I had no problems getting my properties filled with all kinds of people, not just the traveling nurses, just all
Right.
types of people. This winter really is when it started really kind of changing. I'm definitely like, something's definitely happening here, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
So yeah, before that, it was like I could take my pick. I can keep my prices lower and go with the travel nurses and traveling healthcare professionals were like the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I could raise my rates and get a more select person or someone traveling for on GSA or things like that. But yeah, it started to weaken in 2022, and even in 2023, I was like waving the flags in the summertime. I was like, okay, let's start looking so we can bridge the Christmas break
Mm-hmm.
and get into, I call it a bear marketing, just so that in case there's a time where you need to hibernate, that
Mm-hmm.
you're good, you're preparing for hibernation. So even with that, going in that, it still was grasping,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
yeah, so we actually had a 1 month gap on a couple of our units, and that has never happened before, even with all the different marketing tactics that I do.
So you've just kind of talked about some of the changes versus when you started and what it looks like kind of now, right? Are there
Right.
any other changes that you've seen over the years in the business?
Oh, absolutely. So just like I thought, a lot of people who were doing shorts got burnt out and they
Mm-hmm.
pivoted into midterm, and then people had regulations also come
Right.
and saying it's not possible for them to do shorts anymore. So they pivot into the midterm. So you
Mm-hmm.
got that wave of folks kind of discovering the industry. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not such a great secret anymore.
Right. Right.
And then you got nicer. So these people that got all decked out for a short stay, they have these nice properties and things, and they're competing against my workforce rentals. So I got to decorate more. I got to get
Mm-hmm.
nicer stuff. Got to get rid of the IKEA stuff and bring in the lazy boys and things like that. So you got to spruce up and to try to compete with them. So I noticed that in 2022, kind of like that, you compete on design.
Mm-hmm.
But like I was telling you while we were off air, I've been tracking different properties in my competitive zone. Just now, I was only using Airbnb because I can get a big sample pool. So, but that's only one type of traveler,
Mm-hmm.
of course. And I was just seeing that people that had nicer units than mine weren't getting booked, and people that had units that didn't look as nice as mine weren't getting booked. It was just so spending money on decorating doesn't make any sense when there's
Right.
no traffic.
Right. On top of that, then we're hearing about like companies like ALE Solutions where they're saying, oh, well, we don't really want properties furnished, you know? So then there's that aspect of it as well. You have a lot of other properties that will come into this space unfurnished and they are going to get booked because that is what those relocation or maybe some insurance claims may prefer. So that's another element to all of this. But go ahead.
Absolutely. So for me, I'm in. There's lots of, as you know, there's lots of different types of midterm rentals.
Hmm.
There's a luxury inn. There's the workforce type, and then there's ones for families relocating, travel, and things like that, the larger ones.
Hmm.
So I was only going after the GSA type workforce folks coming to town that had their employer paying for them. That was the narrow band I was going after. So that's
Hmm.
why I'm only talking about that band.
Okay.
And even in that band, we see that the demand for travel nurses are high, but the number of travel nurses are going down. They're burning out.
Hmm.
So we got that phenomenon going on as well. So right now it's people relocating. I'm able to fill the units with that. And that's not really my jam because those guys are paying out of pocket versus their employer paying
Right.
for them. So
Right.
so I'm jumping ahead, but I'm definitely trying to pivot now to do a few things to, especially for the units that I arbitrage, because those are the income for those are set to for some financial goals I'm trying to accomplish.
Right.
So I need to accomplish those financial goals, which is to pay off this mixed use commercial building.
Okay.
And I want to pay off some of the loans for that. So those arbitrages are to accomplish
Hmm.
that particular goal. So I want to keep those going. And it's going to take us another couple of years to accomplish that. So
Okay.
I got to pivot to keep those filled to
Hmm.
accomplish those financial goals. And then I'm good.
Okay. So when you're pivoting to keep those filled, or did you go in and spruce them up or redecorate? Like, what did you do to kind of make sure that you can keep those properties filled?
What I did is the main thing, the most important thing was to get a portable washer and dryer in.
Okay.
So so I used to do some for my units, I do some heart plumbing, but you can also just put them on wheels, like a Magic Chef or a Panda
Hmm.
type of thing that holds, you know, less than 2 cubic feet of laundry,
Okay.
8 pounds, 13 pounds.
Hmm.
And then you put it on a cart and you can roll it to the kitchen sink and attach it real quick connect
Oh,
to
okay.
your laundry, and then roll it to the dryer, and so that you have in unit laundry, because that's
Okay.
a make or break. People are like, hey, this is, I can get by with this, it fits my budget, but I don't want to leave my door to go to the common laundry room. So
Hmm.
that's a break. So coming up with the being able to check the boxes that you have laundry in unit is good.
Yeah.
So
And I've
before
noticed
you go decorate.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. Like in-unit laundry, off-street parking, those are two big things. And then, of course, the security, making sure the area is safe or whatever. I've
Right.
even recently had a guest who was like, "Do you have a security system?" And luckily, I had a portable security system from
Good. Yes.
rehab that I was doing, so I was able to install it. But that was a deal breaker for her. Like she was like, "I need a security system." So
Right. Right.
definitely have to kind of think outside the box and pivot and do what you need to do to make sure your properties are being filled. But even still, you can do all you think you can do, and they still may not because there's just not that demand in some areas. I'm not going to say all, but just in
Right.
some areas.
Yeah, you're right. So it's really important to track to see if if you're getting beat on features, or if you're getting beat because, or if you're not getting filled because there's no traffic.
Right.
Otherwise you're spending money, and you don't want to spend money if there's no traffic. You want to
Exactly.
pivot or get a different type of unit. For like what I learned on my study of my market was that since the traveling healthcare professionals who like one bit, one baths aren't coming, I was seeing that what's getting booked in the area is these 2 bit, one baths in larger places.
Okay.
So I can pivot into, I can take my things out of, especially my arbitrages. I can
Hmm.
take them out, my furniture out of there and put it into a 2 bit and pivot that way, keep going. Then
Okay.
I'll be back in the demand. Yeah. Those
Okay.
things are getting booked up. It just I can't believe it, because I thought when I was doing all my stats and everything, I thought, the 1 bedroom hotel room is what I was competing against. I was trying to provide an option for that.
Hmm.
So yeah, things are changing. The cheese is moving, definitely moving.
Definitely. Definitely. And you always have to be ready to pivot in business, in any kind of business. When things
Right.
change, you just have to rework it, pivot, and do something different so that it can work or whatever you need to do, right?
That's right.
So, where do you see the future of midterm rentals? Where do you see this going or extended stays going? Based off of what you've seen in the past, what we see what's happening now, what do you think?
Well, I think it's going to keep changing. I definitely think it's going to keep changing. And I see there's just I'm believing more remote work is going to be always going to be a thing. I'm not sure if it's
Right.
going to be larger houses, or if it's going to be communal, or if it's going to be 1 bedrooms. I don't know. It's just because I don't know the full impact of artificial intelligence.
Hmm.
Who knows? But that's changing a lot of things. So what I decided to do is to not consider a change failure,
Hmm.
just change into the flow of things. Like right now, I'm looking at changing from my taking 2 1 bedroom units
Hmm.
and combining them into a 2 bed, one bath,
Okay.
so I can keep my startup costs low and make that transition. So it's kind of just deciding to stay flexible, because I really, as long as I've been in it, I didn't see COVID coming,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't see that coming, and I didn't predict that so many people would get into midterm rentals.
Mhm.
I thought it would be a nice little portion, but people came they eventually came to the same conclusion that I did earlier on, that the net income, that's all that matters. And if you can accomplish that, and this different type of person, the golden
Mhm.
goose type of person,
Mhm.
that's great. So that's definitely out there, and we'll see what happens, Kelly. Even though I claim to be an expert, I'm just deciding to be flexible, keeping it real, okay?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to. So, as far as the future, I agree with you. I didn't even think about the AI side of things and how that will be kind of eliminating a lot of in-person jobs, and people will be able to step back and just work more remotely on their computers. So that was a good point. I didn't even think about that at all. So it could go back to what we were seeing during the pandemic when we had digital nomads kind of just traveling around, staying in different places, like you said, and that could be the new group.
Right. I think it's going to be part of the landscape is it's now kind of getting big. All landlords are going to need to be thinking about it in some sense. I don't see families traveling, but even the type of households are made up of different things in different groups. I have one 4-bed, 2-bath unit that has four guys are in there. They're all Instagrammers. They sell things on Instagram and they use the garage as a studio
Oh,
and they're completely portable guys, So all kinds of there's the digital nomad community. We just don't know how that's going to play out yet.
right, right.
Yeah.
Just be prepared and
Just yeah,
make
stay
sure you,
flexible.
be flexible. Make sure you have those reserves on hand just so that you
Yeah.
can pivot and make changes and do different things, right?
For our company, we call it Easy Corporate Housing.
Mhm.
For us, it's like 1 month of vacancy is like 3 months of profit.
Yeah.
So we want to cut quick. If we see a trend slowing down, we want to make that adjustment sooner than later
Mhm.
and I don't want to box myself in and saying I failed. I want to say that I gotta, I gotta point my sails to where the wind is going,
Right.
so I can
Right.
capture it. So we got to stay flexible for these 2 years because I need to accomplish my financial goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what is next for the leading landlord?
Yeah. Wow. So I'm going to keep doing midterm rentals,
Mhm.
and I'm kind of good now. I got enough. I'm 58. If you didn't know, if I didn't tell you, the
Yeah.
youngsters.
You looking good,
Thank
hey.
you. Staying take out. So we got some properties, and at this point and I started in '96,
Okay.
so it's been a while.
Mhm.
So at this point, we're just trying to get into retirement mode. You got I semi-retired and then I have bills coming. So I
Mhm.
got to clear off all the bills so I can
Mhm.
really retire and also get all the properties to where I want them so I can either turn them over to a management company or self-manage. I self-manage myself, but I don't want to be so active.
Right.
I want
Right.
everything maintained. So
Yeah.
that's where it's thinking about that mode of that. Right now, I for since 2018, I've lived off of my cash flow, my real estate cash flow. So and I never wanted to do that. I always wanted to have something else going and just let my real estate cash flow accumulate.
Okay.
So I'm looking at which is a sign of the times with a kid in college. I realized I thought I got to go back and grab a little W-2 to
Okay.
keep my business going.
Yeah.
So so I'm going to do that and clean up the books, my books, all the bills and get it set up so that there's nothing encumbering my real estate cash flow.
Al, I'm glad you said that because that's real. It's like, yes, we are entrepreneurs. Yes, we are real estate investors. But if you have to go get a job and accomplish your goals, okay, that's okay. It's nothing wrong with that. And I'm glad you said that so people can hear that because there's so much out here just pushing entrepreneur, entrepreneur. That's you need to do this, you need to. But if you need to get a job, go get a job.
You got things are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your family needs things. So what's different now about going back to the workforce
Hmm.
is that I have a income that I could support me if I left that job or something
Exactly.
happened.
You're
So I
not
have a sense
dependent
of
on it.
safety now, and it's really this particular jobs that I'm looking at are things that I'm really going to enjoy doing.
Hmm.
So so it is there's a couple things happening. We got the rental arbitrages accomplishing the financial objectives, and it's going to happen faster if I don't need to live off that cash flow.
Right. Right.
So it's all really a strategic thing, and as you know, healthcare,
Hmm.
having that taken care of is a big
Yes.
relief. So
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
so
Yes.
this is a fairly new thing. I haven't really talked about to my community yet,
Okay.
but I'm going to talk about this transition and how I think is instead of seeing it as, I accomplished the objective of since 2018, just real estate cash flow, and
Hmm.
that's going to keep going. But adding I'm a civil engineer, adding a civil engineer salary on top of that it's just going to help us accomplish things even faster. So
Exactly.
it's a good pivot.
Yeah, exactly. That's just boosting you all the way up, right?
Right.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So, last question for you. So, do you have anything going on that you want to tell the audience about? Any speaking, any courses, anything you have available if they want to reach out to you? What do you have going on?
Oh, yes. Well, I have a coaching and training program. It's similar to yours, though. So I
Yes.
don't want to tell you about mine because I think you are in the trenches and you put out good information. So but so I coach and train and also have a marketing course called Marketing School for Extended Stays, where we're just focusing on marketing tactics. From people in my community, we come up with something. There's something called the Costly, uh, after a Sean Costley.
Hmm.
He figured out that places that have nuclear power plants have these shutdowns for maintenance. And when they have shutdowns, they have a whole lot of people coming to town and there's a need for housing.
Okay.
So if you're near a nuclear power plant, you want to do the Costly and find those websites and get your information in front of those people and stay booked. So marketing school for extended stays is a collection of those types of tactics. So it's really good.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
guys, marketing is a big piece of midterm rentals. Midterm rentals, again, are not like short-term rentals where you can just throw your listing out there and think it's just going to get booked. You do have to do some legwork, and the marketing is that piece, So if you
Yes.
guys need help with marketing your midterm rentals and keep making sure you keep them full, or as booked as possible, go check out the course from Al. And I'll make sure I put the link to the marketing course in the description of the video. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the information about the changes in the midterm rental industry. Like I said before, I've seen the changes. I know we teach this stuff to people, and I want to make sure we're being very transparent about what we are seeing out here in our markets and what you may be experiencing in your market as well. Okay. So make sure you like and subscribe. I will be back with another video at some point in time. So make sure you keep staying tuned to my channel, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.